Okay, so don't know why WWE just has this innate nature in their business to try and just counter program every single thing that AEW is doing. Like they did it with All in Texas. They did it with, I believe, Double or Nothing. Um, they've just been doing it constantly this year. And this upcoming weekend will be no exception because on the same day as All Out Toronto, they will be, of course, running Wrestlepalooza. And wouldn't you know it, it's not that far away from me. And I know this is like, first world problems, but, just give us wrestling fans a break sometimes. And you don't have to counter program every single little thing that they do. But I don't run the companies, so I don't make those decisions. Um, but I am excited for Wrestlepalooza. I will actually be going to Wrestlepalooza because I was cheeky and I waited until the absolute last second to, well, maybe not the last second, but I waited until I thought the prices were low enough for me to buy tickets, and I actually have, I think, a pretty good seat for the show. And I'll actually be taking home one of those collectible chairs as well, so that'll be another one for my collection. But enough about um, all of the little information stuff. This is, of course, my Wrestlepalooza predictions. Um, for those of you that have ESPN and the ESPN app, congrats, you're able to watch it, maybe. But for those of you not willing to shill out the $30 a month for the ESPN app to watch the pay-per-views, I will provide a website in the description of this video that I have actually used in finding places to watch my AEW pay-per-views. It shows the exact same thing for the WWE pay-per-views as well. So I will put that down in the description so that you guys may be able to find a place, like a restaurant or something, that has ESPN and is showing the show, so that you will not miss out on Wrestlepalooza. And I think I may do this going forward for those that are not willing to part away with $30 every month for the shows on ESPN. But that's a topic for a completely different day. Moving on now to the predictions. First up, we have, and this is a really stacked card. I wonder why. We have the Usos reuniting to take on the Bronson-Reed and Bronbreakker of the Vision. This is going to be really, really cool. Of course, we've had the storyline on Raw with Jay, with his beef with LA Knight, and Jimmy saying, "Hey, I don't see an Ulafala around your neck. You're starting to, sound and act like Roman." So it will be very interesting to see if the Usos remain on the same page for this tag match. Meanwhile, I think the Bronze, I think they're going to be just, I think they're probably just going to mow through Jimmy and Jay at some points in the match. Like whenever they have a disagreement or something, that's when they're going to pounce. But I have a feeling that the Usos are going to keep it together long enough. before I say anything, LA Knight could potentially interfere. And considering what I have for another match on the card, you know what? I think I've talked myself out of my decision. I am going to go with the Bronze winning this match. Breakker and Reed, I do believe, are going to be the ones walking out with their hands held high, whether it be because Knight came in and hit Jay with a BFT, or the Usos couldn't get on the same page. I'm thinking that the Bronze are going to win this matchup. Moving on now, we have the Women's World Title match as iyosky takes on the woman who won the number one contendership at Evolution, Stephanievaquer. Of course, she was going to challenge Naomi for the championship at Clash in Paris, but of course, Naomi got pregnant, and so she had to relinquish the belt. And we now have the match to determine a world champ at Wrestlepalooza. I think these two are going to have an absolutely awesome match. I think it's going to be craziness back and forth between the both of them. But I think in the end, I think they're going to put the rocket to Vaquer, and they're going to give her the world title. I've thought that she was going to win the championship at Clash in Paris when it was her and Naomi, but because of Naomi's pregnancy, that kind of got stopped a little bit. But I still think that's the direction that they're going to go in. I do believe that Vaquer will walk out of Indy as the Women's World Champion. Moving on to the undisputed WWE title match, we have Cody Rhodes coming back from shooting his lovely little movie called Street Fighter, taking on drewmcintyre. Of course, Drew attacked Cody just a little bit after SummerSlam, and basically wrote him off so Cody could go film his parts for Street Fighter. And now that Cody's back, he'll be wrestling Drew on the show, and I think these two are going to have a really good match between the two of them. Both guys are very physical, and they can both take a lot, so I'm expecting craziness in this matchup. In the end, though, I do believe Cody is going to retain his title. I don't see his title reign ending at least for a little while. I don't know what their plan is for Survivor Series, or what their plans are, heck, for even Australia coming up in October. But I do believe that Cody will probably retain his title against Drew at Wrestlepalooza. So that's my prediction. Cody to retain his title. Now we get on to the big boy matches. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar one last time during Cena's farewell tour. This is very interesting because, of course, Brock came back at SummerSlam, the F5 Cena, and that, of course, set up the match that we are going to have at Wrestlepalooza. Now, whatever your thoughts are about, Brock being in the lawsuit, and, all that jazz, I'm still somewhat excited for this match, because it's two guys who have wrestled each other on and off. I mean, going back to, 2003? Yeah, 2003 was when they had their first match. And then, of course, the stuff in 2014 with, like, Suplex City before it was Suplex City. Their encounters at, like, the 2015 Royal Rumble and the Triple Threat match. And just all the history between the two of them. I'm still really pumped for this match. And my hope is that Brock puts on the working boots and actually, allows Cena to hit a few of his stuff on him, and not just, constant Germans like left, right, and center. Although that would be really cool to witness in person. I would hope that there's more of a match. As to who would win, I wouldn't. I can understand the reasoning for either guy to win it, because it's Cena's last year. It is retirement tour. So, give Cena the win over Brock, because, man, when has Cena beaten Brock other than by DQ? I don't think hardly ever. So, give Cena, like, that feather in the cap. But I also understand that it's Brock's first match back in the company in 2 years. So, I understand both sides. But if I had my hand on a Bible, if I was under oath saying, like, who you think was going to win this match, I'm leaning more towards Cena winning this. And the only reason I say that is because it's his last year. And I would at least like him to get to 100 pay-per-view wins, so that he can, have that as a feather in his cap as well. So that's why I give Cena that slight edge over Brock in that instance. And then we go to the last match that I have not talked about yet, and it is mixed tag action. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking on CMPunk and AJ Lee's first match in over a decade. Of course, Punk and Rollins, they have their history, not just, this year, but of course, Seth has said, a lot of horrible things about Punk in the past, but just confining it to this year. Seth screwed Punk out of, winning his Mania main event match. Cut to SummerSlam earlier in the year. Well, not earlier in the year, just like a couple months ago. Punk wins the world title off of Gunther, but of course, Seth comes in with the cash-in, ruins his moment. Seth becomes world champ. In Clash in Paris, Seth looks like he's going to be beat by Punk, but of course, Becky Lynch comes out in the the hood and the balaclava. Seth is able to retain his world title, and of course, Becky has just gotten all up in Punk's business. And of course, Punk, being the gentleman, not going to hit a lady, but he's found someone who has, and of course, AJ Lee made her return to the company. And I'm very excited about this, because when I started watching wrestling in 2014, AJ was one of the prominent figures. Like, her and Paige were like the prominent figures of the then Divas division. Like, those two, they just had a chemistry with each other, and they were kind of like the high points of the division at that point. So to see, like, one of those stalwarts come back into the company after being gone for 10 years, that's amazing. This is going to be really, really interesting, and my assumption, a lot of fun for not only the live crowd, but also the crowd watching potentially on ESPN or wherever you're going to watch the show. If I had to guess who is going to win, it's going to be Punk and AJ. Punk and AJ are going to win. Granted, I don't think it'll be Seth taking the pin. I think it'll be Becky taking that pin. Or tapping out. Either one of the two. But I do believe that Punk and AJ are going to win this matchup and basically kind of, what would you say, kind of set the course for, what could potentially be our two War Games matches, like Team Seth and Team Punk versus, and then Team Becky versus Team AJ. Maybe, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what kind of stuff kind of shapes up in the coming months, but that's one potential direction that they could go in. But for right now, Punk and AJ are going to win that mixed tag match. And so there you have it. Those are my predictions for Wrestlepalooza this weekend. I can't wait to go to the show. I'm going to have so much fun. And of course, look out for videos of the entrances on the YouTube channel after the show. I'm very excited to be there. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description below to a website so that you guys can check out, what kind of places like, bars or restaurants are in your guys' state so that you guys can go and enjoy the show without having to spend $30. So, in the meantime, guys, be safe out there, and I'll catch you guys next time.